easy, but they gamed the system. They changed it.
And who do you see on the horizon for 2028 in the Democratic primary?
Right now?
Yeah.
Bernie and AOC.
No.
They got the biggest crowds.
That doesn't matter.
It won't sustain itself, but right now they have no leader. Okay? But this is the thing the Republican Party has to understand.
AOC says so many people in this country hate women. Oh, geez.
Bill Maher just delivered the most brutal breakdown of the year, and AOC is buried underneath the rubble. What Maher unleashed was not a critique, it was a surgical strike on AOC. But before we go further, if you enjoy short commentary videos with full breakdowns like this, take just 2 seconds to subscribe to the channel. And now buckle up, because this is where the real takedown begins.
Dating profile. Things look great until you meet up in the real world. For example, Bernie Sanders, his big thing was always bringing single-payer health care to our country of 340 million. But when liberal, tie-dyed Vermont tried to do it for a population of 626,000, it collapsed like that in the Oval Office last week. Bernie, AOC, Mandani are not Democrats. They'll be the first to tell you that. They're democratic socialists, and that's a very different thing, and I don't think people know that yet.
And honestly, this is the part of Maher's takedown that hits the hardest. He didn't throw an insult, he threw a number. Sit with that for a moment. Vermont, 626,000 people. A tie-dyed, Bernie-loving liberal fantasy of a state that should have been the perfect lab for single-payer healthcare, and it crumbled, just collapsed under its own weight. So Maher asks the one question the left keeps dodging. If it can't survive 626,000 sympathetic voters, how exactly does it survive 340 million Americans who aren't even sold on the idea? Doesn't matter how good the slogan sounds, doesn't matter how loud the rally gets, doesn't matter how many viral clips Bernie cuts, the numbers don't move. That's the deeper crack here. This isn't a talking point anymore, it's a math problem, and Bernie, AOC, Mamdani aren't solving it.
But the DSA are radicals about this concept, and radical economic policy is always ineluctably married to radical social policy. Their platform, for example, calls for completely open borders. They're for what Biden was doing, but more. You think you're going to win an election on that? This just seems like more extremism at a time when Americans are begging both parties, please, could just one of you act normal?
Placement Maher then turned the entire democratic socialist movement into a national punchline. He rebranded their convention, just like that, Commie-Con. And honestly, sit with what he pulled up next, because this isn't a joke, this isn't a parody, these are the actual 2025 rules from inside that room. A negative COVID test photo just to enter, jazz hands instead of clapping, no aggressive scents allowed in the building, sensory overload warnings handed out to delegates like it's a daycare orientation. Read that again, slowly. These are the people who want to lead 340 million Americans. Doesn't matter how loud the chant lands. Doesn't matter how many viral speeches AOC drops on TikTok. The second voters see this list, the spell breaks. Trust me, voters notice the difference instantly.
This year's DSA convention, or as it's commonly known, Commie-Con. Get this, you had to submit a photo of a negative COVID test to get in. In 2025. Yeah, no one wants to do that shit again. We've had enough of Trump's macho bullshit and also enough of pussy politics. Guy couldn't help himself. These democratic socialists at another of their conventions overload. And also, and I'm not joking, they were told not to be wearing, any aggressive scents.
Please don't go into that space with anything that's like an aggressive scent, for instance, right? Because that's going to be difficult for people.
Oh, for fuck's sake. This... Really? This is who the Democrats are thinking of following? Chuck Schumer ain't perfect, but at least he doesn't...
Mark my words on this, because Maher just put the entire American political mood into one brutal sentence. He said it without apology. Americans are exhausted with Trump-style chaos, and they are just as done with pussy politics. Both wings are bleeding this country out. On one side you have MAGA's crypto crony capitalism turning the White House into a casino. On the other side, you have city-run grocery stores being pitched like it's some genius idea instead of a fast track to Venezuela. On one side, military boots stomping through American streets. On the other side, defund the police, until the moment your own car gets stolen. And stuck in the middle, suffocating, are normal Americans just begging for one sane Democrat who can stand up and say, if you like your Whole Foods, you can keep your Whole Foods. That is not radical. That is not extremism. That is the bare minimum of common sense. And that is exactly why Maher's punch lands so hard on AOC, because her entire political identity is chained to the same far-left lunacy that voters are running from at full speed.
But they gamed the system. They changed it.
And who do you see on the horizon for 2028 in the Democratic primary?
Right now?
Yeah.
Bernie and AOC.
No.
They got the biggest crowds.
That doesn't matter.
It won't sustain itself, but right now they have no leader. Okay? But this is the thing the Republican Party has to understand too. Both parties lost in the last election. Trump won, okay? And I don't know if that's going to transfer. We should have won 4 more seats in the Senate. If you looked at the last 70 races for the Senate, 69 followed.
And here is the part that should genuinely scare Democratic strategists. Let me put it to you straight. AOC is currently outraising every single House Democrat. Not from corporations, from small donors. Sound familiar? This is exactly where Donald Trump was in 2017 when nobody gave him a chance. The base owns the money, the base owns the energy, and the base is fully locked in on AOC and Bernie. That means for the next 2 years, the entire direction of the Democratic Party gets dragged toward the very far left. Whether the party wins or loses 2028, this is the bubble that is now driving it.
And then you'll start seeing these governors that start showing solutions. You also have to know, what is the issue going to be? Are we going to have a foreign policy issue? Are we going to have an economic issue? And who's been the best in leading in that? But right now for the Democrats, who's going to lead for the next 2 years? The money is going to. AOC outraised everybody in the House.
And it's all small donors.
It's all small donors.
Yeah.
And this is exactly where Trump was when no one gave him a chance at 17. He outraised everybody else. So that's where the base is at, right? And so.
This is the moment Maher walked straight into the left's favorite myth and lit it on fire. Don Lemon sat across from him pushing the most absurd version of it yet, that voters would happily pull the lever for AOC and Trump on the same ticket because both supposedly feel real. Maher wasn't buying a word of it. AOC's struggle story is implied, not proven. She's articulate. She's gorgeous. She lives in a New York where 1 million other Hispanics live and aren't treated badly. Critics say Maher was being dismissive. But here's the deeper crack. Don Lemon had nothing back. No data, no story, no comeback, just air. One whispers genuine struggle, the other reeks of marketing.
The moment with the same energy that
they're not asking for AOC.
Yes, they are.
The people you party with
No. The people I party with don't like AOC.
Oh, please.
No, they don't at all.
Well, most people don't.
But
she's
AOC,
very far left.
Let me tell you why I'm saying that. Because because people will vote for AOC and Donald Trump on the same ticket. Because they're authentic. No, because they're authentic.
I don't think
Okay.
That Don.
I think you're wrong about that.
What people like about people like Trump and Fetterman is because it's irrelevant to her life.
But you don't know her life.
I know that being a gorgeous.
And Maher refused to let it go. He kept hammering the question Democrats are too scared to ask out loud. Does 1 year pouring drinks behind a bar really make you a working class hero? Does a Bronx zip code automatically certify you as someone who struggled, or is the whole narrative held together by implication instead of actual evidence? In Maher's read, AOC is not as privileged as some of her colleagues in Congress, but she is nowhere near the underdog her campaign biography keeps selling. That is the credibility crisis in one clean sentence. The branding and the biography do not line up. And when your entire political identity rests on a struggle story that collapses the moment anyone checks it, you have a problem no rally crowd, no viral clip, no TikTok edit can fix.
This woman who I wouldn't even know was Hispanic in a city that has 1 million Hispanics and does not treat them badly.
But that doesn't mean she doesn't struggle. That doesn't mean that she was set down.
It implies it.
But that doesn't mean that she was set down in a Hispanic ghetto in the Bronx and had to deal with that growing up, and that she's come from a working class family.
It implies that it implies that in some way she's behind the 8 ball because of that, and it's just not true. And so I don't.
And then came the conversation that did the worst damage. On Club Random with Patton Oswalt, Maher said the quiet part out loud. AOC needs deprogramming. He said AOC will never connect outside the bubble she lives in, the very, very far left bubble. Then he dropped the receipt. The New York Times, the same Times Maher has fought for a decade, just ran an editorial saying exactly what he's been saying. Democrats lose unless they move center.
And by the way, it was the same thing with AOC. Remember when they found the damning video of AOC dancing and drinking with her friends on the roof at college? Or like, and this is a congressperson, and she looks so happy and beautiful and cool, and you're like, oh, they think this is ending her career because they never did this.
Yeah, but
they were never that comfortable to do this.
Yeah, and if she had some deprogramming, she could be such a fantastic candidate.
What do you mean deprogramming?
I'll tell you exactly what is happening here. This is not just about one congresswoman. Maher widened the lens. He told Patton that the left abandoned science the same way the religious right did. Gender politics, race, parenthood, schools, the border, education, on every single front the left built what amounts to a permanent framework of separation. How do you acknowledge real history without turning every disagreement into a permanent identity war? That is the question Maher keeps asking. And AOC is the poster child of that framework. Not its critic, its symbol.
Well, she just doesn't. She's never going to resonate with people outside of the bubble that she lives in the very, very far left.
Well,
and that, I mean, the New York Times, of all people, the people I've been like squabbling with for the last 7, 8, 10 years, whatever, when I was all about, Democrats have gone too far left, they just put out a huge editorial basically saying exactly what I've been saying.
what, that she's too far left?
Yes, and that the only way the Democrats will ever win again, not that the Republicans are probably going to give it back, is to be more moderate.
Let me be very clear with you. The clearest preview of the 2028 disaster is happening right now in New York City. On Club Random with Brian Tyler Cohen, Maher said it without flinching: if Mamdani becomes mayor of New York and AOC is his loudest cheerleader, the entire thing becomes a walking commercial for the Republican Party. State-run grocery stores, the same brilliant idea that worked so well in Cuba, the Soviet Union, and Venezuela. An ugly streak of anti-Semitism running through the movement. And remember, New York is not just a city, it is America's financial capital, media capital, cultural bellwether. If democratic socialism crashes there, J.D. Vance gets gift-wrapped a 2028 victory, and AOC's brand is tied directly to that crash.
Well, she just doesn't. She's never going to resonate with people outside of the bubble that she lives in the very, very far left.
Well,
and that, I mean, the New York Times, of all people, the people I've been like squabbling with for the last 7, 8, 10 years, whatever, when I was all about, Democrats have gone too far left, they just put out a huge editorial basically saying exactly what I've been saying.
what, that she's too far left?
Yes, and that the only way the Democrats will ever win again, not that the Republicans are probably...
Bill Maher did not just destroy AOC personally. He did something far more dangerous. He dismantled the entire political ecosystem she stands on. He cracked the authenticity myth, very, very far left bubble, and Mamdani AOC alliance as a Republican gift for 2028. Now I want to hear from you. Is Bill Maher right that AOC is trapped inside a far left bubble? Will democratic socialism collapse everywhere the way it collapsed in Vermont? And going into 2028, is AOC an asset for the Democrats or their biggest liability? Drop your one-line answer in the comments below. If this breakdown hit hard, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching our video.